charting a way for ourselves for the next 2 years. And what we do in the next 2 years encompasses everything that concerns us. Youth development is very broad and wide. What we do here, and that is why government sees NECOF as very, very important in our development. Because it is a government that listens, a government that will continue consulting, a government that will stay with you to understand your issues, to know what your needs and aspirations are. How do we get to know those things? How do we listen? By coming here and allowing you to talk, and talk qualitatively, talk reasonably, and talk constructively. So you are not here for the sake of being here. I said you are the nucleus. You are the main hub of youth development in this country. That's why you've been chosen from your regions to come here and represent the youths from your regions. So that whatever you say here represents the opinions and views of you to begin with, and those of you that you represent. And that is why I'm so glad that this time around the National Organizing Committee tried to be a bit innovative by allowing each region to do its own congress, or mini congress, before coming here, assuming that you will have had issues identified in your respective regions, issues that you will have agreed on as your basic needs and requirements, that you will now come and present here. And then as a country, I'm sure by the end, we'll have harmonized all of those and come to very strong resolutions that will have said are the needs of the young people. This is what government wants. And this is what any responsible government, which is what our government is, can do very well for its people and its citizenry, for the sake of national development. So you have to take, I have no doubt, you will stay here very seriously. As the chairman put it, we are not going to be talking here for the sake of talking. Go into the flowery of language. You have to talk with substance. The other point that I want to ask of you is, in all of these endeavors, we cannot make any headway if we don't change our attitudes. If we don't change, not to talk about our behaviors, but our attitude. I've said that a little bit yesterday in my remarks during the opening, that we are sick and tired of the continuous complaints. What governments do is to create an environment. You have peace in abundance in this country. You have security in abundance in this country. You have very fine policies and frameworks put in place in this country. Government will not bring you those to say, you know, this is how you need to operate with those. We assume people should have the mind to go and take those policies and framework and operate within the peace and the conducive environment that we have and make a headway. But we don't quite often as young people, most particularly as young people. Yes, a good number of us are doing well. I keep saying that. If you go into the schools, if you go into the university, if you go into the employment sector, both the private and the public, the private to begin with, it's young people that float those companies, those parastatals. It's young people who are there. And again, it's young people who are beginning their own private businesses too. But what we are saying is that the bigger percentage of us are sitting down doing nothing, depending on one or two people in the society, in our families. We wake up in the morning, sit from morning to dusk, and do nothing productive. This is what needs to change. This is what we are calling upon you to change and to look at. That the quality time that you spend around the small kettle brewing attire, nobody is saying shouldn't bring attire. That quality time you spend 3 hours, 4 hours in the day could be well spent sweeping the street, for example, for KMC, for BCC, and you earn a living. Even why it's $10 or $15 an hour. It will still be better than begging around to buy a half caste for yourself to go and do attire. That quality time as well could be spent by the riverside to join people in the fish industry. That quality time as well could be spent doing petty trade. So these are the things that we're saying. There are abundance of opportunities that we can get ourselves involved and engaged in. Because we should not go far, we cannot go far. The evidence, the stories are there. Or the people outside in the sub-region will come in our country and begin to do some of these things that we see as little and make a living out of them. And yet we will sit around and do nothing and complain and complain. So that is one fundamental area that we have to look at and change. Our attitude. Yes, you are here, you might not belong to that category, but it is now your responsibility to go back to your respective regions and take this message with you. Be the disciples of the Youth Council and of government to go with this message to the youth in those regions, in the little corners that they belong, in the little voods that they will sit, in the ghettos that they will sit, that say, look, it is time for us to change our attitude and begin to do ABC. Another point I want us to look at is protecting the image of this country. Yes, there is no, well, I want to say there is no perfection anywhere, but there is desire by everybody, any human being, to get to perfection. But you cannot sound the imperfections and ignore our progress and our perfections more by sounding the imperfections. And unfortunately, it is the young people again who are engaged in most of those undesirable events and activities, both inside the country and outside the country. It's our young people who are into journalism, owning and running media houses. You cannot be more patriotic. Nobody can come out and be more patriotic than ourselves. We need to love our country. We need to love our leadership and ourselves more than people, who will talk big and we think they love us and our country more than ourselves. That is wrong. So let us protect the interests of this country as young people. Let us protect the image of this country as young people, no matter where you are. Whether here